I am ready now.
Coming to you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan. Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
And what can we expect?
Surprises!
Engineered by Jay Timko and produced by Eric Beatty. And without further delay, it's showtime! Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Detroit Cast. It's Jay again, driving the car here. Mike, as you know from yesterday, had to attend to a family emergency, and that's still an issue, so he's not able to be here. But to my right today, I have the unique and talented Eric, and over to my left, we've got Jay Timko. So we committed to 5 days a week to you guys, giving you new content, and so again, we figured, hey man, the show must go on. Best ofs aren't good enough at this point, so let's go forward. So we've got a big show. We've got really big show. We'll be covering some stuff over in Africa that's going on in terms of the Ebola virus. Is that going to be the end of us all? Probably. Stephen A. Smith, certainly an issue, and he's rendered an apology today, and we'll get to that. We've got some burglaries that have been foiled in interesting and fantastic ways that we'll hit on, as well as some other interesting stories. But first, we'll start out with the porch shooter case that's big news locally here. And of course, this is Theodore Wafer, the guy in Dearborn whose porch, unfortunately, Renisha Bride showed up on November 2nd in the early morning. And Theodore, of course, confronted her at his front door when she came kind of knocking around the house. It's pretty unclear exactly how she came to be there or what she was doing in terms of going to his porch, but she ends up dead. We know that from a shotgun blast, unfortunately, through the screen door of Theodore Wafer's house. So the trial's back underway today with a few different witnesses. The first one was Devontae Bynes, a coworker and friend of McBride's, who said that McBride was headed to his home when she got into that automobile crash. We know that she got into a crash and wandered around, I think, or at least that's what they suspect. She kind of wandered around the neighborhood before coming to Wafer's porch. So Devontae testified that, he spoke with her earlier in the day, and he was concerned about the tone of her voice on the phone. She sounded like probably she'd been drinking. She was slurring words. So,
go
ahead.
Did they say when did he say he saw this? Or that she was slurring her words? He was talking, because it sounded like that was early in the day.
Yeah, he spoke with her earlier when she was on her way. She was headed to his house when she got in that crash, which I think was at like 1:30, something along those lines. She gets in the crash. We know she leaves the scene of that accident with possibly a bloody head or a blow to the head. And again, it's unclear then what happens in the next few hours before she ends up dead at the base of Wafer's porch.
So many, they've been literally have heard going around and asking people, and no one has any scene of her. No video, no anything.
Yeah, witnesses. I guess so. At that point in the night, and if you're in a part of a neighborhood where you're not close to any convenience store or anything like that might have surveillance.
Yeah, but it just seems like usually in these cases, in fact, it's funny, just on Saturday, or this week earlier, I was with some friends, and we were up late or whatever, and all of a sudden my buddy goes, hey, he lives on the lake. He's like, you want to go on the pontoon boat at night? I was like, yeah, why not? I've never really done that. And the point of that story is we were kind of out in a weird part of the lake, and all of a sudden, it was like 2, 3 in the morning, and some motorcycle guy came up by the beach, kind of sat there for a little bit and left. And I just said to my buddy, it's funny how you think you wouldn't know things, but then you hear someone's killed, you hear something happens, and you start to think, yeah, I did see someone walking down the lake, 2 in the morning. It seemed odd, but I didn't think about it at the time.
Right.
And that just seems funny to me.
Yeah, no, I think you're right on that. People hear things, people see things that they don't think are anything relevant until it becomes relevant. And this is kind of the second witness that we heard from today, Ray Murad, who lived right down the street from Theodore, and he was awakened that morning by a noise outside his home. He testified to today, and he said he went to investigate and saw that a tree was hanging over the top of his car. So I think he concluded, oh, that's just the noise I heard.
Right.
And then as he's out there, he hears a gunshot.
Yeah.
So maybe what he's hearing is her knocking around the house or whatever wafer was hearing,
Yeah.
which scared the shit out of him.
And that's just to me is why it seems odd that, like, you're right. A lot of people probably not up at 1 a.m, but there's always some, like I said, why I would never normally be on the boat at 2:30 in the morning on the lake, and yet I saw, like I said, this, I'm sure it was nothing, but it just seems like odd that not more people haven't come out maybe and done something at least.
Right, in a neighborhood with that tightly packed houses,
right?
And so you'd think somebody would be driving down the street or something.
You're coming home from maybe you work evenings, you get home at, some people work till midnight or whatever. So
right. The third witness, at least that we know of at the point of this recording, was Cheryl Carpenter. Or I'm sorry, not Cheryl Carpenter. Dearborn Heights police officer who Cheryl Carpenter Wafer's lawyer cross-examined hard on the idea of how that tech collected key evidence. That's always a big, as we saw, look at the OJ trial, right? What better example is there
absolutely
than trying to create reasonable doubt from the idea that, look, you didn't collect evidence properly, so how can we rely on anything you say, any evidence that's proposed in the case?
Dude, nowadays, just with how much technology we have, I'm not saying it's shocked that but you could almost create reasonable doubt, I feel like, almost with anything.
Well, I've heard prosecutors say that these shows, particularly like CSI movies and stuff, that really focus in on that kind of technical collection of things, have really hurt their chances of prosecuting people. It's made it much more difficult because jurors now are sitting there going, well,
how come I don't have?
How come we don't have X, Y, and Z that they do in CSI? And
that's a good point. People just assume that they should be able to buy a little hair 20 feet away that should be able to tell that he was walking there or whatever.
Exactly. So they're attacking, on all fronts like this with the collection of fingerprints, which they say, which is odd. They say police waited 10 days to dust the scene.
What?
Right. You've got a guy who's telling police, look, I was afraid because I heard knocking, I heard rustling around my house. I thought there were multiple people out there, and it took them 10 days.
I don't know if that was near enough. I guess I haven't maybe paid fully enough attention, but wow.
Probably an oversight by the cops that they regret at this point.
I feel like.
But it's just, it's human error like that creates footholds for defendants sometimes.
It's kind of funny. I mean, you probably know this already because, I know you weren't this kind of lawyer, but you've been probably paid attention to trials more than I would have. But when I went to Lake's Minivan USA, the trial, one of the witnesses, a key person on the stand was a fingerprint analyst.
Yeah.
And it was crazy how I never thought about, like, again, from CSI and stuff, you just assume, if my finger goes like that, boom, there's fingerprints literally everywhere. And she had to go through and say, no, if you press it too hard, that can make it not readable enough. Or if just a little water in your finger would be enough to, maybe like you could still get something of it, but it's not like you just assume you touch something, that's it, perfect fingerprint.
Oh, that's interesting. So were Lake's Minivan USA's attorneys saying, well, look, there's fingerprints that aren't specifically his, or you can't say that are specifically his?
When she was explaining this was more when she was, I think, going into, because she was an expert witness.
Yeah.
So they have to do multiple things kind of before in front of the jury.
Before they qualify.
You've worked this before. Right. So I think that was more in her just explaining how she knows about fingerprints and what can lead to. It wasn't as much, because there was no, again, we all know that statement, there was no question it was him. It was just more she was explaining what goes into getting a good sample.
Gotcha. Well, I'm sure this jury in the Port Shooter case will be hearing a lot more from experts and a lot more witnesses. They think they've got about another week and a half. Mike and I were speculating it was about a week trial, but they're saying in the media that it was expected to last about 2 weeks, so I think they've been at about half a week. So
I think this is going to be really interesting to me, what the jury actually comes out for this, and if he gets guilty of something, what will really be, because I feel like he'll get guilty of something, but what will he really be? What will the penance really be for this?
Yeah, it's interesting because we talked about this last time. He claims that he feared for his life. Right. I mean, that's his first premise, his first defense is I feared for my life. I grabbed my gun. I heard this rustling. I was fearful. But yet he opened the door with what he thought was an unloaded gun. It doesn't seem consistent. He says, the gun just went off. I didn't know that there was a shell in there.
plus the phone call. He says, what does he say? He says, I just shot somebody. What city are you in? I don't know. Hang up.
Yeah, and I think that's explainable. I think that's shock. That's holy shit. Just
yeah, that's true.
It's early in the morning. You're tired as shit. You've just done something that is drastic. You've never done before.
Just hanging up, though. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of stuff there that but on the same end, I don't think anyone thinks that he murdered this person.
Right, like an intent to go out and. Right.
I mean, it's his house. Clearly, how could he? It's like premeditated.
And he's not charged with first degree. He's charged
Right.
with second. So I think the prosecution is recognizing that he's not taking this opportunity to premeditate and shoot this person. But the question is, did he overstep what he should have given the circumstances? And the prosecution obviously thinks he did. He went way beyond what he should have with just a young girl knocking on his door.
Do you think he should go to jail for more than a year in this?
Yeah.
What do you think? Less than 5?
I don't know.
I feel like
That's
it should
tough,
be less than
man.
5. I feel like I'm not saying I don't know what, but I don't think it should be more than 5. I guess just because I know that there's no way in any capacity he was like, well, I'm just looking to kill somebody.
Yeah, but you got to be responsible, right? And I guess I'd want to hear all the evidence before I made that call on how responsible he was acting.
Right.
But there sure seems to be a lack of responsibility at some point. But then you look at the other side and you go, well, shit, man, it's 4:30. Someone knocking on your door. Why can't you grab a gun and go to the front door? If like he says it's accidental discharge,
right.
That happens,
no one can argue it technically.
It happens.
Yeah, and if you get woken up at that time of the morning, it's not like you're in the best frame of mind either.
Right.
It might be the call. Do you want to hear the 911 call too? It's only like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Night's emergency.
Yes. I just shot somebody on my front porch with a shotgun, banging on my door.
What's your address?
My name, address, Outer Drive.
Okay, what city are you in?
Thank you.
What city are you in?
See, I think that's just shock.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't read anything into that, like
agree,
guilt or innocence.
Well, that's the other thing. He called the cop. I mean,
right.
I know, like, yes, but there's a lot of times where even afterwards where they still don't call when they say, hey, he did even call the cops.
I think he's flipped out entirely, as I would be,
Yeah.
And, man. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. We'll be tracking it as more evidence comes out. We'll talk about that if it's relevant. But sticking with some death and destruction, unfortunately, and moving this time across the pond to Africa, man, the Ebola virus is is making a comeback here. We're looking at one of the biggest outbreaks since 1976, at least, and this stuff's bad, man. And this, you know what, is this ultimately how it's gonna all end, with some sort of outbreak of just some drastic disease that they can't stop?
You know, when I happen to be a very big fan of anything that's post-apocalyptic, like books. My favorite book ever is The Stand by Stephen King stuff. And it does seem, and not that those are real things, of course, but when you look at humans and we all decide how is this going to end, other than maybe a sun or an astronaut, I think one of the big ones is always some kind of virus is going to get out there.
Did you say other than a sun or an astronaut? An evil astronaut's going to come kill us, Eric?
The sun exploding or an asteroid hitting the Earth. Sorry.
I hadn't heard the astronaut theory before. So.
Look, I'm not used to being in this seat here. Much more pressure is put upon myself to say my words. Normally, I'm over there off mic. Maybe if I mess up, you guys don't hear me. Now everything I get is getting scrutinized.
Yeah, the astronaut conspiracy theory. We'll have to Google that one.
But you know what I'm saying, though. A lot of the theories, when you look at ideas,
sure.
How could that not be one of the biggest thought processes? Something's going to happen again. Even though we vaccinate for things, everything, there's always that argument that we vaccinate too much, to the point where those things, they just keep regenerating, and eventually we're immune to, our bodies are too weak.
Yeah, and you see those computer-generated deals where they show that outbreak and they show how it spreads, and this shit. I mean, this cannot show symptoms for a while you have it, right?
Oh my God!
And it's just brutal.
What are we going to do? We're going to. How are they going to quarantine the country?
Right. Well, right now it's a big problem in Liberia, and the reason it's top of mind, I think, on CNN today at least, is because 2 Americans have tested positive. And so isn't that kind
Americans
of...
in there?
Yeah, at Liberia, yeah. A second American aid worker in Liberia has tested positive for Ebola, according to the Christian humanitarian group she works for. Nancy Wright-Bull is employed by Serving in Michigan, or SIM, in Liberia, and was helping the joint SIM Samaritan's Purse team that's treating Ebola patients in Monrovia, according to a Samaritan Purse's statement. Wright-Bull has been living in Monrovia with her husband. The Charlotte, North Carolina residents have been in Liberia, which is in Western Africa, since August 2013. On Saturday, Samaritan's Purse announced that American doctor Kent Brantley had become infected. The 33-year-old, God, can you imagine that? 33-year-old former Indianapolis resident had been treating Ebola patients in Monrovia and started feeling ill. Once he started noticing the symptoms last week, Brantley isolated himself. He had been in the country since October. So you have these people who volunteer, to go help in this awful area and under these awful circumstances, and they contract it, and it's a killer. Testing confirmed the virus in 786, health officials say the Ebola outbreak centered in West Africa is the deadliest ever. As of July 20th, some 1,093 people in Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia are thought to have been infected since its symptoms were first observed 4 months ago. And testing confirmed the virus in 786 of those cases. 442 of those people died. So, and here's perhaps our biggest concern. There are also fears the virus could spread to Africa's most populous country, Nigeria.
Uh-oh.
It's already gotten there, too, by the way.
Another problem for our friend Good Luck Jonathan.
I was just
looking any better.
Say, good luck.
That's gonna be on the, those girls are going to be back front to the virus. I mean,
Mike might have a point now when he says, well, Good Luck's got a lot on his mind. He's got a lot on his plate. Well, you add this to it, and I sort of am starting to agree with Mike a little bit on that.
Those girls are going to take a back seat to this virus. This is definitely more important.
First the World Cup and now the virus.
Yeah, because they said in Lagos, Nigeria, there's like 20 million people that live in that area, and they've already got some positive tests
oh my God,
of people that are getting it over there.
Oh, shit.
Do we have soldiers in this area of the country? Or, anything like, you know what I'm saying? Because that would start to get really dangerous.
Right. Your concern is that somebody brings it back, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. And it could totally happen. One of these aid workers leaves and flies back, and that's how these computer-generated models explode, right?
Now you said, yeah, exactly. And you said then you cannot sometimes tell for, do you say upwards of a year or
no, I didn't say a year, but it does.
Like the symptoms don't show
themselves. The symptoms don't necessarily show right away. Don't immediately appear. They can easily spread as people travel around the region. So once infected with the virus, many people die in an average of 10 days as the blood fails to clot and hemorrhaging occurs.
God.
Fever, headache, fatigue is typical symptoms. So you could just think you have the flu.
And it makes me wonder,
dude.
It makes me worried that can they not? I wonder if they can pre-test. I wonder how much. It doesn't show in our body, but when does it show in a test?
Right. I wonder what they do to these workers before they. I'm sure they have something, right?
Hopefully.
I watched a video on what these people do in terms of suiting up to treat. Mm-hmm. It's a hazmat situation, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they are getting into full hazmat gear, several pairs of gloves. They have ski goggles on. They're treating people like in the jungle area, and they're in these hazmat suits. It's just. It's brutal.
Got your SCBAs and everything like that. Sorry.
Dude,
your self-contained breathing apparatus.
Mm-hmm.
No, but the thing is like you said, they can misdiagnose it. So they'll if they put them through a full proper battery of tests, they can know better. But that's the thing is they say, oh, it's it looks like flu-like, so then they cut the testing right there. They need to extend it and do the full proper battery test.
Yeah, because all it takes is one, right? All it takes is one.
Yep.
My God.
Spread through bodily fluids.
You're right. That's why you don't like to think about this stuff.
This is it, dude. It's either an astronaut or a virus. I'm convinced.
But did you also see, Jay, though, that their most prominent doctor over there in Liberia died from it?
Oh.
Like one of their best doctors working on it fell victim to it.
Holy shit, man.
So it's ugly.
Wow, Jay, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Hey, shit to worry about. See, you can't get your mind around. That's why I hate international stories. Is like you can't get your mind around this shit. Israel, Hamas, viruses. You can sort of port shooter. We can deal with that, right?
Absolutely.
We can talk about it. We can understand it. We can deal with it. But when you start to talk about this shit that's actually going on in the world, freaks you out, eh?
Totally.
That's what
dude.
keeps you up at
I-
night, and that's what keeps you possibly wearing the same clothes as you did yesterday, you son of a bitch.
I know, dude.
Were you up all night? What the fuck?
No, I don't know how to explain it. I guess I just had nothing. I literally haven't even done one thing since we've been here last.
People watching YouTube are probably going, those
Yes.
fuckers just taped 2 in a row. They just taped 2 in a row.
Yeah, we're gonna have our own big E virus here. You know? Ebola
Oh,
and the big E
shit.
virus.
It can't be healthy. You son of a bitch, you're sitting in my chair right now.
I know.
You're sitting at my table. You better get the Clorox wipes out.
I know, dude. I don't know what to tell you. You know what? Because of the fact that I had to do my normal workload was uplifted by having to do more stuff that I just didn't have time. Just didn't have time.
I had time.
I'm sure he's gonna play the Izzy card because he's dog sitting.
That's
Izzy
another
and all
thing.
that.
Yeah, that's
So
another
I'm
thing
sure
I
that's
had going
gonna
on
be it.
too. So
Yeah, I had time. I had time to go to work. I had time to deal with my 3 kids and family.
well, what can I
Big E
say?
just
I'm
couldn't
not a good-
find it.
Not a good time management, I guess. Time management has never been my strong. Well, I don't know what is my strong suit. By the way, it seems like all I ever tell you is the things I'm not good at. But
Well, you know what? Yesterday we went into this, and you were adamant that you were very educated. Do you remember this? Where
Yeah.
I went to school for 2 years and all this shit. Well,
Yes.
people chimed in on email, and they're like, "Yeah, I love Eric's," and they quoted you. They're
no
like,
way.
They're like, "I went to school for 2 years and stuff." It's just absurd.
I
It's
didn't.
fucking absurd.
I didn't realize I said it. I do say that a lot and stuff. I always put it in stuff when it comes to anything emotional. I'll always be like, oh, love and stuff or whatever. Like
Sure.
it's always just throwing it out there.
Just the crutch phrase.
Yeah.
We've all got them for sure.
Right.
But you were telling me, you were before the show. You were kind of like, dude, seriously, you don't know. I seriously went to school for this and blah 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 blah. I'm like 13 years in this business, and I'm like, what the fuck did you learn in this school? Because you're just learning here to talk into the mic.
Right.
And you were telling me about, oh, you know what? I got in my bag. I've got a couple things. I've got that I did at Scripps or wherever. In terms of
People always say
advertising.
Scripps, by the way. Everyone always says Scripps, Howard, and it's Specs. Not that it
Or-
matters,
yeah,
but
Specs,
no,
whatever.
it's just funny. It's just because
Sorry, man.
my dad says it, and not, I went there.
Yeah.
With him, or not with him, but I mean,
He paid for you.
I paid for Specs.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Oh, I incurred thousands of dollars in debt. And it's like, dude, okay, I get it, and I sympathize. I agree that's significant, but you know how many people do that?
I
It's
know.
just
I know.
a way of
I
life,
know.
man.
Well, that's a total white person problem, I guess. And the only real reason I even paid for, I paid for it. Like if I'd gone to normal college, it would have been. I wouldn't have had to. It's just my parents didn't. For some reason, they didn't want me to do radio.
Saw it as a dead end, did they?
saw it as a possible money issue down the line.
Oh, that's weird.
And so if they said if I wanted to do it, I could go to Specs, but I would have to pay for it myself. So,
Mm.
which I mean, whatever.
So what's the stuff you were telling me about in terms of advertising?
So I thought this would be funny just because like we said, we were talking about my schooling and with Mike out of here, you've never really known much about my Specs history, so I bring a few advertisements I wrote up.
Oh, these are going to be
Do
good.
you want me to read them, or
Yeah, read one.
should I read it? Just read it, or
Read it like you would in your radio voice.
I
your
think
best
this
radio
is how
voice.
I did this one. It's funny because when I was back then, you're trying to make a demo to get on the air.
Okay.
So you're like more concerned with very making sure you're pronouncing everything.
Okay, well, I want you to read. Now, so the assignment was write a quick advertisement,
Yeah.
record it, edit it, etc., turn it in. You also had to turn in, your sheet or your notes? That
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
used
This is. You know what? This is actually. You know what? I may have a mistake here.
Oh.
Real quick.
Lo and
Shot.
behold.
You know what, dude? Back here is an advertisement. These two.
What is
When
it?
I'm looking at it now, I'm realizing that these two are, because when I first started doing radio, we would do practice radio shows, and when you listen to the radio 99, like a music station, and they do breaks,
Yeah.
Alan Jackson, and so we were supposed to write up some breaks, like kind of like little helpful hints, or whatever.
So this is yours.
Yeah, this was me.
So this is a real. Read it just as you would.
I guess just. Well, if it seems like you're always dieting, let me start over real quick. If it seems like you're always dieting and getting nowhere, sometimes just little things can make a difference. Did you know that all that fancy coffee with your whipped cream and French vanilla can be up to 2,200 more calories than regular per cup? So next time, get out the regular coffee, and maybe it will help you trim those couple pounds that you have been trying to that you and her have been. Ugh, I can't read my own handwriting, but here, let me try to here. But next time, get that regular. Next time, just get that regular coffee, and maybe it'll help you trim those couple extra pounds that you've been wanting to get off there for a few months now. And now we're playing one great song after another. 96.9 WNLD.
Oh my God!
What are we buying? I don't know what the product
This is an
is.
advertisement. This is me supposed to be giving a helpful tip to my listeners
Oh my
between
God.
two songs
Oh my God!
about how to lose some extra pounds.
All right, if this all goes as planned, we will at some point have advertisers, and it's good to know now, Eric, what you can do and what you can't.
Right.
Let me see that. And I glanced at this earlier. My biggest thing about this was the unbelievably bad spelling. This is incredible. It's just incredible. And you wrote it out very neatly. He took time to write this
You
out.
can even see where because at the beginning it was very mindful of how long your breaks would be. So you can even see where, in my opinion, I read it enough times that where I saw the 20-second mark would be or whatever.
Oh my God.
That's
yeah,
what that is.
But it's all very neatly printed, which is you'd never think he'd be able to do. But my God, some of the spelling on the next one, for example, he spelled apple, APPEL. He spelled squeezed, SKQUEZED. Dude, he spelled cider, SYDER. You said, try a trip to an apple orchard, enjoy a hayride, pick up some fresh squeezed apple cider. And hey, maybe, MABY, it will keep them away from that TV for a while. Wow, dude.
How ridiculous for an idea for a family. I mean, it's not a bad idea for a family, but how worded out it is.
Oh, Eric. I guess I have to.
I graduated with like a 4.0 from Specs, too, by the way. Or like 3.8, I think.
Good work, man.
They did it just to move him along. I'm guessing.
Get him the fuck out of here.
There's no way he would have. No.
It wasn't that. The problem is, like I told Jay, when it came to Specs, it was more about just making sure that the audio production sounded okay.
Yeah.
You had, like things under your music bed. Clearly, spelling was not a qualification.
So they weren't critical on the notes you hand in, or the copy that you hand in?
Yeah, these, for example, would not have even been turned in.
Okay.
These first two things. These two here were, in the back here were advertisements. These would have been turned in at one point. Or if I hadn't turned these versions, I mean, I turned one in, and it may have been mine to read. But
okay.
So it's not like a math class where you have to show your work.
No.
You know what you did to get to the answer.
Right.
Can you imagine? How'd you do in math class?
Not at all. Specs was absolutely the school for me. Because it's the only school I've ever by far just flew with flying colors in, I guess. But
Well, okay. So you all were wrong yesterday if you were sitting out there listening to Eric and doubting him on his education. He's damn finely educated. Moving on, though, let's move on to an interesting story about Stephen A. Smith. I think most people know who he is. He's one of these talking head personalities on ESPN. He made some comments about Ray Rice's suspension, and Ray Rice, of course, is the Baltimore running back who was on tape knocking out his wife.
I mean, is it on tape? I guess it's kind of
he's on tape
Right.
with her knocked out.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You don't see, I don't think, the punch or the action that led to it.
Yeah, there is speculation out there that there's more to this video that we just haven't seen. But yes, as far as we see, you're right.
But essentially, just to set up the Stephen A. piece of it,
Yes.
it's Ray Rice who has. Is it undisputed that he engaged in some sort
I
of
don't
domestic
think so.
violence with? Okay, so he's not disputing that.
I mean, well,
Some sort of assault on his wife. And Stephen A. commented the other day. Do you have that, Timko?
Yeah. We get up here.
And where we are now, he commented last Friday. He quickly apologized via tweet, as so many people do, and then he apologized again today. But here's his original comments, right?
Yeah, is what started it.
His first take on ESPN.
It's not about him then. It's about you. And here's what I mean by that. We keep talking about the guys. We know you have no business putting your hands on a woman. I don't know how many times I got to reiterate that. But as a man who was raised by women, see, I know what I'm going to do if somebody touches a female member of my family. I know what I'm going to do. I know what my boys are going to do. I know what I'm going to have to remind myself that I work for the worldwide leader. I'm going to have to get law enforcement officials involved because of what I'm going to be tempted to do. But what I've tried to employ the female members of my family, some of who you all met and talked to and what have you, is that, again, and this is what I've done this all my life, let's make sure we don't do anything to provoke wrong actions. Because if I come or somebody else come, whether it's law enforcement officials, your brother, or the fellas that you know, if we come after somebody has put their hands on you, it doesn't negate the fact that they already put their hands on you. So let's try to make sure that we can do our part in making sure that that doesn't happen. Now, you got some dudes that are just horrible, and they're going to do it anyway. And there's never an excuse to put your hands on a woman. But domestic violence or you know, with or whatever the case may be, with men putting their hands on women is obviously a very real issue in our society. And I think that just talking about what guys shouldn't do, we got to also make sure that you can do your part to do whatever you can do to try to make sure it doesn't happen. We know they're wrong. We know they're criminal. We know they probably deserve to be in jail. In Ray Rice's case, he probably deserves more than the 2-game suspension, which we both acknowledged. But at the same time, we also have to make sure that we learn as much as we can about elements of provocation. Not that there's real provocation, but the elements of provocation, you got to make sure that you address it, because what we've got to do is do what we can to try to prevent the situations from happening in any way. And I don't think that's broached enough, is all I'm saying. No point of blame is to
You're saying no violence, period.
Period.
Just in a discussion.
Period.
No one should be.
Period.
Okay.
What's so ridiculous about that? The guy on the right there looks thoroughly
Skip Bayless.
Like people like this just sit there and run their mouth, and they throw out a lot of the key words, you know. But people stop listening at some point.
Yeah.
Because okay, it sounds right. Like we need to do, you know, and people just nod like, yeah, okay. You can tell he's not even listening at that point.
Yeah.
It's like
Skip.
you're just whipping words out there, and you've lost your audience. And I don't know. It's just.
Well, I think that's
ridiculous.
part of Stephen A's problem is he just gets going. And what do you think, Eric? Did he step over the line?
I know, and I know it's like, luckily this format, Walters is lets us be very free on what we want to say. And of course, you know, just like he did at the beginning, not against, you know, never, ever would I hit a, you know, whatever. But I do think that, what he said is he's not saying that. I think he's just saying sometimes, like, girls, you know that girl that always dates the asshole, and it's like, you know, don't put yourself in that position. Not that it's okay for him to do that, but there's no responsibility in some sense that, man, if you realize that your boyfriend has an anger problem, you need to get yourself out of that situation. There's no way I cannot imagine ever a guy beating a girl that there was nothing that ever, no signs that ever led up to that. If that makes any sense, and I hope I'm wording this right.
No, I think you're saying, is there a sign to this coming? I think the question he's dealing with is, do women have a part in provoking it?
And Walters has said this many times. There are women
Our fearless leader.
Yes, our fearless leader, cult leader, as you call him.
Yeah.
Well, that is this issue sometimes where there are those girls out there that know that, like, I would never hit a girl, so they kind of know, well, I can do what, you know, I can push and push and push.
We've talked about that being, the ugliest characteristic of chicks. Just those chicks who think they're tough, you know, and it's like, shut up. That drives me nuts to see that.
I mean,
and to see them hitting and kicking and stuff, and exactly.
It would be so hard. I don't think I could do it. You know what I mean? I'm sure you couldn't. But what you just said there, you're with a girl, she starts punching me in the. Am I supposed to flat out do nothing?
Yes.
I know, but you know what I'm saying, though.
Well, I guess I do, but the answer is yes. You're not supposed to hit them.
Well, but my point is.
Can you I can see how
I would never do
a woman could provoke a certain situation. Where Stephen A gets in trouble, though, is he's on this enormous network, and he has way overstepped the PC line of, hey, it's you know, always the guy's fault, and it can never be understood as anything but that. I am, you know, again, it's never okay. I don't care if you're provoked or not. It's never okay.
Look, I could never do it. I'm being serious. I could never do it. I'm just saying it is annoying when you see these, when it's just out there that you see that. I just think there should be times when that happens, the girl should absolutely be looked at just as bad to me as the guy. It's the guy. No, if the guy steps back, he
Oh,
hits
yeah,
her.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If the guy doesn't do anything, doesn't react, calls the cops, then everyone, since it's that double standard. We're like, oh, the guy, what a pussy, calling because his wife's beating him up. Well, he's not beating. It's not that she's beating him up. It's not that he's a pussy. It's that he's a guy. He's not going to hit her back.
Right. He's showing restraint.
That's what I meant to say. If that it didn't come out maybe as good the first.
No,
time.
I thought you meant he hits her.
No. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
No, it's tough, man. I mean, we've all seen those chicks, and again, and we've talked about that, and as you said, Walters has talked about it, I'm sure at length. It is so annoying to see, because they press the button.
Right.
They know, right? They know that 90% of guys will, turn their back and take the punch to the back of their shoulder or whatever.
Right.
But man, those same chicks, if somebody hurls off and nails them.
Right.
What do they expect, really?
Absolutely. Now I don't know.
Pushing.
Yeah, and I I went off topic here with what we were really talking about and whether he was right or what he said, I guess. But
well, is this a free speech issue really with Stephen A. Smith? We've talked about that before and talked about, look, people are too PC and all that. I just think what he said is wrong. I mean, just fundamentally, I don't agree with that. These chicks need to be educated about provocation, all that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think some chicks do press those buttons, but I don't think there's any reason for a guy to throw down.
Yeah. I think in his case, and I don't tend to like Stephen A. Smith, by the way. I tend to think, I remember officially back in the Piston days when he kind of would slam the Pistons. I thought a lot of times his opinions, I didn't tend to like them. I just think he references in there, even though he grew up in a house of all women. He's so not saying that. In a sense, I'm not.
I think he is saying it though. He's saying there's preventative measures that women can provoke, and you need to do your part not to provoke.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle. I'm in the middle between like my kind of full on and what you are. If that makes I'm kind of like not full on your thing, but I'm not full on the other. I'm really in the middle on it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. But he went ahead, like I said, and apologized via Twitter right away, and then I think today went on and made a more substantive apology. Do you have that, Timko?
Yeah. Let me see if I can share this too.
And by the way, I saw a report that he's leaving ESPN.
Oh, really?
And he's going to Sirius XM of all places.
No. Oh, maybe a little coincidental that he would get a little.
Well, we talked about Anthony of Opie and Anthony being broomed out of there, and because Sirius was so concerned about the statements Anthony made. But a little bit of irony that they can take Stephen A, but they can't take Anthony.
Okay.
So here's today's apology by Stephen A. Good morning. On Friday, speaking right here on First Take on the subject of domestic violence, I made what can only amount to the most egregious error of my career. While elaborating on thoughts concerning the NFL's ruling versus Ray Rice, following a domestic dispute with his then fiancée, I ventured beyond the scope of our discussion by alluding to a woman's role in such heinous matters, going so far as to use the word provoke in my diatribe. My words came across that it is somehow a woman's fault. This was not my intent. It is not what I was trying to say. Yet the failure to clearly articulate something different lies squarely on my shoulders. To say what I actually said was foolish is an understatement. To say I was wrong is obvious. To apologize, to say I'm sorry, doesn't do the matter its proper justice, to be quite honest. But I do sincerely apologize. As a man raised by the greatest mother in the world and 4 older sisters, I've religiously spoken out against domestic violence all of my life. I've done so repeatedly over 20 years in this business, as well as over these very airwaves right here on First Take. My primary reason for doing so is because I've experienced and dealt with the matter within my own family. Unfortunately, I did an incredibly poor job of asserting my point of view this past Friday. For that, again, I am truly, truly sorry. Particularly the victims of domestic abuse, and to my female family members and loved ones I've disappointed and who know I know better. You all deserved a better professional and, quite frankly, a better man last Friday sitting on this very set in this very chair. My heartfelt apologies to each and every single one of you.
Stephen A., I appreciate you apologizing.
The issue I have with that is it's one thing to say, well, what I said, I didn't say it clearly enough. It's not what I meant. I meant to say this. No, he said what he meant.
Right.
I think all he's recognized now is that what he meant is not acceptable.
I agree with you. You're right. I agree with you on that. 100%.
I thought he articulated it fairly clearly last week.
And do you believe that isn't how he really thinks?
Right. I think he's just changed now how he thinks because he realized, oh, shit.
Well, it's ridiculous, too. If you look at it, his mannerism, when he was running his mouth, he's all animated. His eyebrows are on top of his head. He's doing all this stuff here. Now he's just looking directly in the camera.
Reading the cue card.
Reading. But you can still see the arrogance in his eyes. You know what I mean? In the way he delivers it, and he's still trying to maintain an image of himself.
Yeah.
And the other thing I took from that is I like how everybody says I was raised by the greatest mother in the world. I mean, how many greatest mothers in the world are there? The greatest dads? Everybody.
Yeah, I think I have a mug that says "World's Greatest Dad." So what are you trying to say?
Well, clearly you're the greatest dad.
Yeah. Okay.
God, Jesus.
I agree with you. I think that he said what he wanted to say.
He said what he wanted to say. He realized, oh shit, this doesn't really fit with society. So I didn't mean that. That was vague. It wasn't well stated.
Yeah.
Okay, Stephen A. Okay. Well, on this same sort of issue of apologies and taking stands out there in the media, we've got Zayn Malik or Malik from One Direction. Sorry if I don't know the One Direction band members to pronounce their name. I think it's Zayn Malik.
I don't know.
Okay. Zayn Malik from One Direction has dared to go into this Twitter sphere involving Israel and Palestine. And what he said, the 21-year-old singer grew up Muslim. He posted his comments Sunday night, and lots of followers quickly reacted. He posted hashtag Free Palestine. And followers reacted, "Are you still alive? You should be dead by now and kill yourself." Another said, "You and your family need to die." Someone in Israel apparently wrote, "You have fans in hashtag Israel. It broke me that one of my idols wants me to die." And Malik has kept the tweet there. Yep, apparently, still there. You're looking at it.
I'm looking at it right now.
Unlike Rihanna, who I guess retweeted it and then said, "Oh shit, this is controversial."
That was so ridiculous too, because what she tried to say is that someone had
somebody hijacked it.
No, she actually didn't even go that far. It was even dumber. She just said somehow she was Googling or like she was looking some stuff up and somehow it accidentally tweeted. Like she literally didn't even say, "Oh, someone got into my thing." Okay. And I know you're. Actually,
I'm new to Twitter.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, we gotta say this. I'm on Twitter now, man.
Right.
Yeah. At J Detroitcast. Yeah, against every muscle and every fiber in my body, I'm now on Twitter.
But so as someone like for you that is new to Twitter, you wouldn't maybe know this, but when you tweet something, it's very
intentional,
obvious that you tweeted it. Yeah. It's not like, oh, I sent a text and oh my god, that went to the wrong person.
Yeah. Oh shit, I put hashtag Free Palestine. Send.
Oh my god, yeah.
Damn spell check.
yeah, autocorrect.
Yeah, autocorrect.
I was trying to say hashtag World Cup because she was actually I think in the World Cup when or something when it happened because of Rihanna. I believe she was maybe, but I could be wrong about that. But yeah, it's not like hashtag.
I don't know. Check the keyboard. Maybe World Cup and Free Palestine line up with autocorrect.
Although actually, having said that, I'm sure you deal with this. Dude, when you're texting, some of the stuff that autocorrect stuff to is so ridiculous. I'll be like, I'm trying to say go to meet, and then it'll be like become or something. You know what I mean? Like it literally will make a word that it. But yeah, it's not like. But anyway, that's what her claim was.
Okay.
Because she didn't even try to claim in the end that she knew what it was and felt bad. She was, but yeah, right. 8 minutes later, all of a sudden it went down.
Yeah.
And I don't even know.
Yeah. So the question, and we talked about this yesterday, the Israel-Hamas thing. We won't go deeply into that, but obviously the conflict is enormous over there. You've got Israel and Hamas, who's located in the Gaza area, that are flinging stuff back and forth to each other, and obviously Israel is way more equipped to kind of handle this militarily, and so. The residents of Gaza are able to sometimes win the PR battle a little bit by showing pictures of the dead and clearly putting out pictures of kids and stuff like that is heart-wrenching, obviously. But they're able to take on this underdog role, and I think a lot of times these Hollywood or singer types, they jump on these causes, and they're just ignorant, right? So the question is this Zayn Malik just an ignorant dude who doesn't understand both sides of it, or is he truly behind the idea of Palestine? We an example would be like free our girls, hashtag free our girls. Everybody jumped on that, and that went viral and so forth. So it's pretty clear Rihanna didn't exactly know what she stepped in.
Whether he thinks he does or not, he clearly wants it there.
Yeah, he's leaving it there.
It's been on for 19 hours as we're talking right now.
Yeah.
It's still there. 160,000 retweets of it. So,
wow.
I mean, we don't know. You're right. That's a very good question, whether he knows what he's talking about when he's doing it or not.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, will he? And as you know,
yeah, will we see an apology next week? I don't know.
Will we see this down? Will we see this tweet down, and will the apology come out? Who knows?
Yeah, but does he even really care? Is this just another attention whore thing, which most people on social networking are, these days? Like Jay, he's out there trying to get himself some attention. That's the only reason.
Yeah,
he's on
hey everybody,
Twitter.
follow me on Twitter.
who has only one follower on Twitter right now, which is
hey
me.
man, I just signed up, right?
No, that's all right.
Where do you see yourself tweeting from, Jay? Could you give us an example of some of the tweets that you?
Hey man, I'll be on the soccer sideline. I'll be livid at the other, these little 12-year-old twerps. I'll be, oh my god, number 14, I hate him. I want to kick his ass. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Just so I can jump on the bandwagon here, by the way, I changed mine to Big E, all lowercase. It's Big E, or at Big E Detroit Cast for me too. On Twitter too. So
good deal. Yeah, follow Eric. I'm sure Eric will do dumb shit that will interest you.
No way, but
I think a record-breaking tweet for him is like now bathing. First time in a month or something along those lines.
Maybe I'll take a pic twit of me in the shower.
Hey, I saw the selfie of you and the duck the other day.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. One of the most interesting things though was the guy behind you.
Yeah, my friend.
Okay, that's your buddy.
Yeah.
No, it just it was just the oddest picture. I mean, you, a duck, and then this big burly dude.
You know what's funny that
who kind of looked like he was sneaking up on you or something, like he was ready to slit your throat.
It's funny, two things. One that you said. It's just weird how the adjective you were to describe him, Burley, just because his last name is Burley, actually. Not that it matters, but he's my buddy, and I used to actually live with him for a little bit when I was, and his roommates of his house right now are growing. I have some ducks and
they're growing ducks.
Not they're growing ducks, ducks and some other things as animals, and that's where
cool.
that came about.
That's cool. I like that. You had the goat selfie, then the duck.
Yeah, I'm
selfie.
making a theme. I had a cat selfie too with my cat the other day.
Going barnyard.
Although someone on Facebook railed on me saying that cat selfie can't be a selfie because a selfie has to be of two humans, not of an animal. I disagree. What's the difference?
God. Oh, we digress. We mentioned this idea of burglaries happening recently, and a couple kind of fantastic conclusions to them. And I wanted to visit a couple of these things, and I think people in their homes are getting more aggressive in defending. You're hearing more and more stories about this. You're hearing more and more about these asshole burglars who half the time are probably hopped up on drugs and shit, so they're not as effective as maybe they could be on a good day.
You gotta think anybody that's gonna, because I actually know what this is.
Desperate, right?
Anybody
absolutely
that's
desperate.
Just run into a house, sometimes in the middle of the day. I've seen some of these. I just saw an Inside Edition one. In fact, I forgot about this one on Inside Edition a few weeks ago, where middle of the day just ran into some guy's house.
Yeah.
So it's like you're right. Got to be high level of desperation.
Just looking for anything they can quickly hack for $25 to get the fix or whatever.
Absolutely.
Well, this one involved someone somewhat famous, I guess. I never heard of him, but I'm sure you have.
Yes, I have.
Former WWE champ Daniel Bryan catches suspected burglar. And there's Big E, I think, doing the yes.
Yes. Yes.
So he's the dude who did that stupid yes chant.
we're all wondering if if he was above the guy, maybe going yes, yes.
Right, after he caught him.
After he caught him.
Well, here's the deal. Daniel Bryan, who apparently his real name is Bryan Danielson. What the fuck is that?
When I read this story, that's the thing that stuck out to me. I'm like, that was, because a lot of these wrestlers, their name is not their real name.
Right. And that's the Ultimate Hero or the Ultimate Warrior, isn't it? Yeah.
The Rock,
Hulk Hogan.
All these guys. And it's like, so I was just like, man, really? Like, out of all the names he picked, he just took his first name, he took his last name and put it first, and his first name and put it last. That's my name now. Fucking
dyslexic or something. I don't know. Bryan Danielson and his wife, Brianna, who's known as Brie Bella. She's a WWE.
Hot.
And again, nice name. This story is just full of stupid names. Bryan Danielson and his wife, Brianna, drove into the carport of their Arcadia home and saw a door to the house start to open. And this is near Phoenix, I guess. That's when Danielson and Brianna, his wife, a fellow former WWE star, ran inside to check on their dog, Josie. They're actually lucky that I got them instead of Brie, he said, because she probably would have been a little bit more violent. So she's a tough bitch. Huh?
Oh, yeah, she definitely. She's a diva. She was a diva. She's fought in the ring for sure, so she knows what she's doing.
Okay. I saw the guy running out back. I chased them. I caught one of them. I kept him until police got there. I kept him.
Kept him.
Danielson got into the struggle with 22-year-old Cesar Sosa, but the former champ subdued him until officers arrived. Phoenix Police Chief Tommy Thompson said,
Jeez,
again,
all these names.
Stupid ass Tommy Thompson. Who does that?
Tommy Thompson. Why would you do that to your kid?
Fuck, Philip Phillips.
So
What's happening? You know, you have a responsibility to that child.
absolutely, dude. I've always said if I ever were to have a kid, I would take that very seriously, naming a kid. And something like that is so easy. Your name's Thompson. Okay, I'm not gonna make him Tommy Thompson.
You almost wonder if that's like his nickname. You know, like, hey,
Yeah.
Thompson, Tommy. I don't know.
But I would name it farther away
Hell
from Tommy.
yeah.
It would be like Dan Thompson.
You would
or-
name your daughter Faye Fady.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
God, why do people fuck with names like that?
It's so
I did the coolest one of those though that I did hear. A friend of a friend recently gave his son the middle name Danger, which I thought was pretty cool because middle names don't really
yeah,
matter, right?
I could see that middle name.
But he can always be like, my middle name's Danger.
So that's good. You know why? Because that, for one, that could be thinking ahead of time. Dude, he could absolutely use that for girls later
Yep.
on. Absolutely, because you say, hey, girls, no big deal, but that's my middle name. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
no, for real.
No
Boom.
shit. Look
You
at my
know?
license, you know?
In fact, I like that
Yeah,
a lot now.
that's
that
the
I'm hearing
coolest one I've ever heard where they fucked
And
with a name.
And like I said, that could be, I mean, especially if he goes to if he goes in a situation like a college, like a Michigan State, it could be gold.
Badass. Yeah, so the former champ had him, he did not have him in the yes lock. The yes lock is his signature move. What is it, like the camel clutch or something?
It's he kind of, I don't know. Yeah, he's got his hands around like his mouth like this.
It's the camel clutch.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. I called it. I
As
had no
if-
idea.
As if you would have him in the
Right?
yes.
Can you imagine the
You almost-
Costco?
You almost wonder if the guy that wrote this was maybe a wrestling fan, because you could tell like multiple times it's the formal champ, and
Yeah.
it's like as if he just wanted to throw these things in there to,
Right.
as if that would be even a thought.
Yeah.
Although I would question it if I heard that Brian Danielson.
The only thing I've been out of the wrestling
Danielson.
scene for Danielson for so long. Like I knew the old school Hulk Hogan,
right.
obviously the Iron Sheik. I just referenced the camel clutch, but this yes chant thing was kind of on the top of my mind because that MSU lineman Travis Jackson was doing it.
Yeah,
I guess
absolutely.
as part of the whole cheering thing
That got
last year for the Spartans.
Really big, that
Okay.
yes champ.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, it almost, not to forget, we have to start talking about wrestling because you want to talk about radio for myself, I guess. But it almost, he was at a point in his career in WWE where I think he was fledging a little bit, but the yes chant got so big that he started pushing him. It pushed him. It absolutely started pushing him.
Well, you say he got to a point in his career where he was fledgling.
His storyline
isn't the whole thing just a huge plan? They sit there with a dry erase
but
board at the
things
beginning of a
change.
season or whatever, and they map out what the hell's going to happen and what.
Yes.
Right?
You know what? I know there's a lot of my friends that know more, so if there's anybody that listens, they might be yelling at me. So I'm not going to claim that I know as much as because I know friends that really know this stuff. But yes, they do. But dude, things change all the time. If someone gets injured, people quit. Wrestling can be very. Those guys are these big guys. Someone ends up doing steroids. They got to get DUIs happen, and so things change on random basis. And also sometimes just something happens where if something gets picked up like that, yes, champ did.
So you think that's a unique thing that he came up on his own? He just started doing it, and then the higher ups had to realize, okay, this guy's getting pub. Let's make him okay.
It was an absolute big storyline.
Wow.
They didn't really want him to be a champion because they really are pushing right now for like those big guys, and he's just kind of, if you look at him, he's not that kind of guy.
Okay.
And that yes chant, he really played this underdog role, and the fans. I mean, dude, it was. I went to a pay-per-view one time when this yes chant was going. Actually, saw him win the belt, and but when he did it, dude, the yes chant was just huge. The whole stadium just sitting there, yes.
God, that's so weird to me. So
and
weird.
you saw it at State when they did it. Remember?
Yeah.
He did it in the thing, and then when they came back at Breslin for the
to kind of wind up the season, they were at the basketball game at halftime,
and
they
even made it onto the WWE website.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah,
Spartans. Is this it? Yeah, he's not a big guy.
No.
Yes. 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 Yes.
It was pretty cool being at Joe Louis, seeing him win the belt, because I was actually there at one of the accumulations of the storyline, and so the crowd, it was at one of its peaks when the Yes chant was at one of its peaks. Anyway,
how distinctly American, man! You watch something like that, and you're just like, God bless this country.
It's so ridiculous. I get it. I
It's
totally
fun.
get it, but.
But on the subject of burglary, sticking with it, this is a cool story. 63-year-old Indiana woman used an interesting weapon to fight off a would-be robber after he broke into her home and threatened her and her husband. She attacked the guy with her trusty back scratcher. Again, man, I mean, these burglars, I think, man, they're losing steam or people are just getting balls.
At 63?
Yeah, 63-year-old Patty Kearney and her husband Don, 69, were
of course.
Don, 69.
Hey, Don!
Were home watching television when they heard a crash. It sounded like someone had hit the house with something. A man wearing a green hoodie, a pair of Chicago Cubs gloves, and a hockey mask
Jesus Christ.
was following Don and carrying a wrench and a roll of duct tape. He said, "Give me your gun," Patty recalls. I answered, "What gun? We don't have one." After the couple offered the man money, he ordered Patty to restrain her husband using the duct tape. I simply answered no, she said. I simply answered no. I knew that once I taped up Don, that would be the end for us. Patty, who uses oxygen for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and lung cancer, she's in remission. Thank God.
What happened?
Of course.
Godspeed, Patty. Then asked the man if he had a gun. He admitted that he didn't. Emboldened by this confession.
Why is he answering
I
her?
know.
Wait, he's robbing her.
Yeah,
Why are
right.
you answering her demands? Like, dude, stick up for yourself at least.
I'm in charge here. I've got the Chicago Cubs gloves on and the fucking mask. I'm in charge
Yeah,
here.
I'd be like, I'm not answering your questions.
God. I ask the questions here, lady.
Right.
Patty quickly grabbed, so emboldened by this, Patty quickly grabbed a nearby wooden back scratcher. This stick has served me well, having once used it to kill 2 bats. What?
Serve me well.
Dude, I'm picturing one of those little back scratchers that's
Plastic.
yeah, just little
like,
tiny thin thing.
Yeah.
What
But
could
I've
this
seen some
be?
I've seen some big wooden ones. I've seen some pretty ones.
I've seen ones with like petrified alligator hands on them. Have you seen those?
No.
Oh yeah, you can buy them in any bullshit souvenir
weird to
store
me.
in Florida. But what kind of back scratcher is this, man? What kind of freaking behemoth back do you have?
Dude, I still can't get over that. Like, I'm coming into your house and be like, all right, guys, get on the ground, get on the ground. And you're like, do you have a gun? No. But anyway, but I get on the ground. Like, why is he answering this lady, this 63-year-old lady's answering her question while he's robbing her?
It's like a James Bond villain or something.
Yeah,
you know?
like, he's telling the plot before.
Exactly. It's just, well, you know what? It goes back to what we said. These burglars, they're all high on something. They're just looking for their next fix.
Has to be, dude. No, if I am not the strongest person. I can not do 10 push-ups in a row, I don't think, at this point. But I'm telling you right now, dude, like, if I was going, I think I could take a 63-year-old woman if I was going.
I don't know.
What if she has a back scratcher?
She looks pretty brutal. You want to see her?
Yeah, let's see her.
It's got the back scratcher in it too.
Oh shit! Yeah, I want to see this.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, you're right. There was a video.
On oxygen,
COPD, cancer, lung cancer.
but Patty Kearney
Oh my
was
God.
determined
Kick your ass.
not to become a victim.
She's
Guy
thick.
had a Jason mask,
Doesn't wear
hockey
pants.
mask on, and I almost started laughing.
Kearney and her husband were watching TV around 9:30
He's
on
right, that's
Monday
putting some
night
pants
when they
on for
heard a crash
TV
in the back
interview.
room. Her husband went to check it out.
Don.
I was going to go out there and ask him what was going on, and I saw him backing up out of the back porch with his hands in there saying, "Please don't hurt us."
Kearney says the next few moments were tense. The burglar had a wrench,
Heavy, big wrench.
asked about a gun, and demanded money. But when she figured out the crook didn't have a gun,
I'm going to fight.
That's no
it
back
was game
scratcher.
on. Kearney grabbed this back scratcher.
And I said, "Not in my house, not in my house." And I boom, 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 boom.
And kept on hitting until the
Like
man
that.
dropped the wrench. She picked it up and forced him out.
And I just hit him in the head. Hit him in the head. Hit him in the head till I got there, and I hit him once more, and he ran out the door.
She's like
The
leading
man
him
ran
out the door.
away, lucky for him, because Kearney says she wasn't going to stop.
If he hadn't got out that back door, I'd have beat him to death. And I know I would have, because I was that mad at that person in my house. doing this to me.
Her sense of security gone, Kearney says she's proud of what she did, defending her home against an unwanted guest.
Somebody invaded my house.
Now, Marion
This
police
lady,
did
this
collect
lady
evidence.
literally has oxygen tubes going up her nose, or feeding her oxygen at the base of her nose. She had the equivalent of, it was definitely a back scratcher on one end. The other end was one of those massagers, kind of the wooden roller. Kind of looked a little kinky there for
I'm so
Patty.
glad. I'm so glad there was a demonstration.
This I did. If you can picture like the old cartoons or whatever of the old lady with a rolling pin, that's kind of how it was, chasing a guy with a rolling pin.
You're right, yeah.
But man, she took him down. Good for Patty. She hit him 4 times on the head while dragging my oxygen tubes behind me, she said.
Come on, dude.
Too, in that video clip, she had didn't look like she had pants on, so maybe that stunned the guy. He's like, I don't believe what I'm seeing, and she made her move.
That had to play into it. Like, I can't believe this old lady's coming at me.
Right,
he's probably so baked off his gourd, just like, oh, I just can't handle this. I'm out of here. This is too much to take. But the man stumbled out of the house, leaving a blood trail. Though the robber is still on the run, Patty is certain he'll be arrested. He didn't seem that intelligent, she said. What robber admits not having a gun? And the duct tape and the wrench were mine. He broke into our garage and stole them. What an amateur.
Wow. God, gotta have some respect for Patty.
Patty is a tough biatch.
We got to call her. I got her number here. Maybe
Yeah.
we have to blow a call in. Maybe we hit a break and prep.
Yeah, you
for
know
that
what?
and
Let's take a break right now because we've been going a little while. We'll check out Patty, and we'll also come back with some interesting stories involving a plane crash that, man, this is a unique one. Another issue with a dog perhaps getting unruly and certainly paying the price here. So we'll come back with that in just a minute.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break. Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
And here we are back. And, you know, as I hear Beth bring us out of that break, I have to harken back to, I think it was our friend Rizzo who emailed in a while ago when Beth sat in that one time.
Yeah, I was gone, so Beth sat in.
Yeah, Beth's done that a few times. She's filled in and provided a female voice on some issues, which is great. But Rizzo, I remember, chimed in. This was back in May. And he was very impressed by Beth and her voice. And part of his email to us was, anyways, you need to have Beth on more and have her talk for at least a solid minute straight so I can finish rubbing one off listening to her sexy voice. Can you imagine yesterday what my man was doing?
God.
Because during yesterday's show, I mean, she co-hosted the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So a good hour and a half with Beth.
Absolutely.
And an hour and a half, which included Beth getting a lap dance from a Wonder Woman stripper.
Right. What are the chances? I mean, for one, we already, I think, post-show we kind of talked about, but so he probably blew up a few times, but
he definitely blew up a couple times.
But during that story, can you imagine like the rock hard that Rizzo must have been?
If he had anything left,
right.
That was way late in the show, so
point.
I kind of feel bad for him. Like we should have, put that up front for his benefit.
Man, maybe. God,
sorry, Rizzo.
Maybe he got one of those shots into the penis.
Hey,
right.
Speaking of that, Eric, have you thought more about it? Because I have. I have to be honest. Eric. Eric's doing this kind of like look like a little kid when he has to pee.
I've been had multiple encounters with things in my testicular region.
Yeah, you have fire included.
Yeah, and also like just getting kicked with boots.
Okay.
Yada yada.
Okay.
Oh my God, I've thought about
it. Just an injection. A single injection can give you a 30-day hard-on.
How bad do you think that would hurt? Oh my God.
You'd be fine.
You'd be fine. Why are you doing it? You're married. I don't even have one to use. I don't even.
I'm not walking around with a 30-day boner. Okay, you can. You can.
I don't even have one to use it on.
Well, that's my concern. Is do we really want Eric walking around with this thing and just dumping seed everywhere?
I already, not to get too.
Yeah, there's already too much of that going on in your dad's basement.
Have a high sex drive as it is, to be honest. So.
Well, I mean, not to mention but 30 days. Think of him with a 30-day boner. Like he's going to be here in the studio for a big number of shows with pitching it. He's already grabbing his nuts and dropping his pants at Beth.
Well, and he wears these tearaway basketball pants too.
Imagine him driving the steering wheel. Issues he's going to encounter. Kind of stuff.
Well, I was just thinking more that in this group that we're in, doing what we do here, kind of a morning show thing. A lot of times we're looking at naked, scantily clad ladies, stuff like that. So
you might have to excuse yourself.
Right, because if I have a shot, I mean, I'm already bad enough. If I have a shot, it's going to be popping up the slightest encounter of a girl.
You're right. There's pros and cons. We'll have to wait.
I'll think about it still more. God, I can't believe. When I said that I would have done it for sure at first, I really would never. If it had literally even been a shot anywhere else, I never in a million years would have thought it would have to be a shot straight into the shaft.
No, I was kind of surprised by that too, and that's why I asked Dr. Roche that question. I was like, where's the shot? I thought maybe the groin region or something, but I knew it had to be down there. It's not just an IV or something. But
I know. I guess I don't
know
why.
Right in the dick, man.
I have known one person. I know it's not that unusual because there's people out there, but I have known of one person that even got a tattoo on his penis.
Oh, God. Of what?
I don't remember what it was. It was a long time ago. Somebody used to work with that Red Robin back in the day. But he flat out...
Red Robin.
Yeah.
Was it one of these clever things that when it grows, it spells something else?
I remember it being something like... it was something like that. But
flaccid, it says this, but hard,
I think it was an animal or something. I can't remember, but I can't even imagine. And I have tattoos, and I want more. I've said it over and over again.
Yeah, getting that needle scraped across your dick like that.
I remember that. I remember this about it because you're right. You said it can change. He had to get it hard for the tattoo because it couldn't be flaccid.
Get it hard and keep it hard. How do you keep a hard on during that process?
I don't know. Now I think I forgot. I remember him telling me this about. It's been so long since because that was way back in like 2008, I believe.
Yeah.
So no, that was even in 2007. So.
I remember the whole thing, clone your bone. Remember that deal?
Absolutely.
I think that got introduced through the Drew and Mike show, but one of our buddies, Alex, and I think he's a listener, so hey, how you doing, Al? he cloned his bone for his girlfriend
Wow.
one time, and I remember thinking, oh my God, you've got to keep it in this stuff, and you've got to have a hard on for a long time,
Right,
you know,
right.
and keep it hard in order for it to set.
Yeah.
But he apparently pulled it off.
I don't know, man. Well, I'll continue. I guess I'll continue to think about it.
Okay.
Don't look at the screen over here, Eric. 'Cause,
Right.
you know, if you got a lot of seed to lose, you know, we don't want to encourage that.
Jeez.
Especially when you're in Jay's chair, your boss's chair.
Yes. Like I said, you're cleaning all that shit up. Clorox
will.
wipes are coming out. You're doing it all.
Make sure I do.
Yeah, we should have rotated chairs. I didn't even think about that, so they wouldn't have to deal with it.
Ugh.
He's probably cutting ass over there and everything.
I don't fart. I told you, like I said, I don't really fart.
Yeah,
that
but
much,
when you
so-
do it in my face.
Right.
Thank you.
No problem.
Your boss's face. Hey, you know what? We were just talking about that story with the 63-year-old woman beating off the robber.
Yeah.
With the back scratcher. Let's try blowing in a call here. We think we have a good number, so let's try Patty and Don Kearney and see what happens.
It's probably going to take her a second to get to the phone without all that oxygen.
Hello?
Hi, is this Patty?
Yeah,
Hi, Patty. This is Jay and Eric from the Detroit Cast. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Good, Patty. Well, hey, you know, we're giving you a call because we heard your story about the recent burglary attempt and your reaction to that, and we thought it was incredible and wanted to give you a call.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, we saw, you know, we read about it, and then we pulled you up on, I guess, the local news station, and we're very impressed by your aggressive reaction to that. That was amazing.
Pardon?
That was just simply amazing how you pulled that off with the whole back scratcher and everything.
I don't know where it came from.
Yeah, you're not usually that aggressive.
Oh, no.
Well, you know, we basically just wanted to commend you on beating off a burglar.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome, and you did it pulling, I guess, your oxygen around the house and everything. It was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow, and this your husband Don was also in the house at the time we read.
Oh, my husband, yes, he was there. I reacted so fast he didn't have time to even think.
He didn't have time to think? What's that?
Yeah, I mean, he was standing right behind me, but I grabbed the back scratcher before he...
Oh, see, the way I read it, I thought that Don confronted the burglar first and tried to beat him off himself.
No.
No? Oh,
No.
okay, but I guess the burglar did order you to duct tape Don, is that right?
Yes, he wanted me to duct tape him, and...
Now, had you ever done anything like that with Don before? I mean, is that...
No.
No?
Not lately.
Not lately. Whoa, Patty, here we go.
I like it.
So tell me walk me through this arrangement of you ending up beating off a burglar.
Okay.
How long? Oh.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
what happened first, Patty?
Well, we heard a big crash in our back porch. I mean, it sounded like something had broken, and we figured one of the cats had knocked something off and broke it. So my husband went out there. I stood up, and he went out there to look, and he comes back, walking backwards through our kitchen with his hands in the air saying, "Don't hurt us."
Okay.
And the guy came through. When I saw him, he had on a hockey mask, a green hoodie, and Chicago Cubs gloves. Boy, I remember all that. I don't know. And he was holding a big wrench and a roll of duct tape.
Okay. What time of day is this? Is this during is this during the evening or is this in the middle of the day?
It's at 10:30 at night.
Okay.
And he told my husband to lay down. My husband said no.
Well, good for Don.
He just said no, he wasn't going to do it. Because he knew once he laid down, we were done.
Yeah, he's been in that position before with the tape and all that.
Yeah. And so he said he wanted our guns, and we told him we didn't have guns. And he kept insisting he wanted our guns.
And then this is the key to the story right here, Patty, where you ask him the critical question, and that was...
Right. Yeah, because, then my husband said, "I've got some money." And he said, the kid said, "I'll take your money." And then, oh, excuse me. And then
Well,
he had the tape to me and told me to tape him up.
Okay.
And I said, no. And he said, oh, I want your guns.
Okay.
And I said, we don't have a gun. Don said, we'll have guns.
And
I
was
turned
that
around,
the truth,
I
Patty?
was sitting there, looked at him, I said, do you have a gun? And he said, no. That was it.
What?
I grabbed my back scratcher and went at him.
That was the wrong answer, wasn't it, Patty? He's a fool.
It was wrong.
Why wouldn't he
You
at
know.
least do the thing where you stick your finger in your pocket, and you act like you have a gun and
Yeah,
you
I would
point
have
it?
done that.
You know,
Yeah, something.
he's got a
Yeah, I
hoodie
could've
on,
done.
right? He's got a hoodie. He could have done that.
Right.
Yeah. What now? Would you have believed that if he did that?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was getting so mad at him that, you're in my house and you're going to hurt us.
That is. That's
I
infuriating. I can sympathize with that.
Yeah. And I grabbed that back scratcher and I hit him a good 4 times. And he was walking backwards trying to get away from me, stumbling, and he dropped a wrench or I grabbed it. I don't remember. I just remember I ended up with a wrench.
Yeah.
And I nailed him 4 times going out that back door.
Oh, with the wrench?
Oh. Yes.
Dang. Good move,
Yeah.
Patty. So you picked it up off the ground and just wow.
Do you feel that he was like maybe on some sort of drugs or anything? I mean, no offense, but a 63-year-old woman, we probably feel like most of us could take one out if we wanted to.
Oh, I know. I don't think he expected it.
Right.
I think if he didn't expect it, because his eyes were on Don. He
Yeah.
wasn't looking at me.
Okay.
He
That's a
was
good
watching
point.
Don. Don was going to be the one that was going to be the aggressor. I
Yeah.
think he thought.
Yeah, and then wow, that's an amazing story. Now, how long did it take from start to finish to beat this burglar off?
Oh, I think probably less than 30 minutes.
Oh, well, he lasted a long time there. That's wow, that's quite a period.
And here you are chasing after him, a younger man. You're 63, and you even have oxygen with you, and you're
Right.
still able to beat him off.
Yeah, I have oxygen. I wear it 24 hours a day.
So you got you got an oxygen tank in one hand, a wrench in another, and you're still able to beat him off.
Well, no, my oxygen's concentrator, so I don't have the tank hanging on me.
Oh, okay.
But I'm 63 years old. I don't do things like this.
Sure. No, you know what? Frankly, when we first read this story, we thought, is this guy just completely strung out on drugs? And Eric, my partner here, was actually bold enough to say, well, I could take a 63-year-old grandma lady.
Yeah, come on, time to come on.
Yeah.
Really? Is that a threat, Patty?
You know what, Patty? We saw the massage you called it back scratcher. I viewed it as a massager. When I saw you pick that up, it had sort of a heavy end that you held, and then you hit with the back scratching part. What's the deal with that massager, Patty?
And where is it now?
You're not telling me?
What did I do with the massager?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I didn't even use a back scratcher. It was I don't know, I got it one time. I thought we needed one, and it just kind of laid there.
Just laid there, never used it, huh?
Yeah, until now.
Yeah, it came in handy for sure.
Where is it now? Where's the famous back scratcher now?
It's laying right here on our kitchen counter.
Yeah, I'll bet you keep it handy now, huh?
You got it, and the wrench.
Yeah. Now, are you in like a high crime area, or was this just a completely out of the blue?
No, we're really not.
Okay. And did they ever figure out who this guy was? You said he was wearing
Not
this.
yet. They sent his DNA, sent for his blood for DNA testing, but it hasn't come back yet.
Okay. Well, that's cool. And you got to think a guy like this who's desperate enough to do something like that might have a record and might be on
That's right,
their
yeah.
system, right?
Either that or he's a first timer.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, you mentioned in the story too something interesting about using the back scratcher to kill bats. What was that all about?
Oh yeah, we had a couple bats in the house, and the first one he was flying, and I just took the back scratcher as he was going by me and spun like a bat, Like a baseball bat?
Yeah.
His bat knocked him in the wall.
Like a baseball bat.
Damn.
Patty, you are an amazing woman, and this guy messed with the wrong lady. There's no question about
the
it.
wrong house.
He brought his Chicago Cubs gloves and his hockey
that
mask.
really, because I'm a Chicago Cubs fan, and that really pissed me
Oh,
Yeah.
you really picked the wrong
You're
house.
like, not with my team's gloves. No way.
I know.
If they had been White Sox gloves, would you have been maybe, well, no big deal.
Yeah, White Sox, I might have let him off, but no.
Well, going back to the period of you beating this guy off, what was his reaction, understanding that he was, sort of the first confronted and he was kind of the focus of this burglar at first? What was his reaction as you're striking this guy and beating
He
him
got
up?
right behind me, and as I was moving, and he was right there trying to push the guy out, too.
Now, did you give Don any heat about, hey, Don, how about getting out in front of me a little bit here? I'm the wife.
No.
No?
Yeah, or some of Don's friends kind of be like, man, letting the woman take care of him, huh?
Oh, yeah. He's got a lot of heat over that
Yeah,
one.
Don's got a lot of heat.
Maybe not showing up to the coffee shop the next morning for the regular talk.
Yeah. Just about, really, Don? Really?
That's great, Patty. Well, thanks a lot for your time. We
You're
thought it was an amazing
welcome.
story. We're glad that you are okay. We're glad you were able to beat off the burglar, and
Thank
that you were
you very
able
much.
to save Don.
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
Well, have a great day, Patty. Take care.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cool lady, man.
Dude, she actually does sound really cool.
Yeah.
Don's a lucky guy.
I love that. How she's like, oh yeah, he's taking heat. He's taking heat. I had to beat off the robber for him.
It's funny because this is the first time you and me have ever done something like this before, and me having my background with the Drew and Mike days or whatever, it's always interesting that first time you start saying things like beating him up, and you did what I have seen even Drew do at times, which you say that thing and you kind of move away from the mic. Because you're just like, oh my God, is she really not going to just understand what we're talking about?
She didn't care, man. She did not care that we referenced her
She definitely
beating
seemed
off
like
a
a
burglar.
cool lady.
Oh, cool lady. We'll have to give her a call on some other shit in the future. I could see her commenting on some baseball or something.
Yeah,
down
she's
the
a
line.
big shy Cubs fan.
Yeah, we'll have to keep that one in the Rolodex. The Rolodex. Yeah, all right. Well, cool. That was an interesting story from Patty there. Moving on to another interesting lady. A teenage volleyball player from Kazakhstan is coming under fire, but it's not because of her skills. It's because of her looks. Critics say Sabina Altenbekova, 17, is so beautiful that it's a distraction to the sport. Even the athlete's own coach says his team is increasingly about one player, at least as far as the fans are concerned. So I've not seen this girl. I've only seen the story. Show me the picky.
Yeah, I told you this, but I didn't want to show you the pictures because I wanted to say what your opinion was, and I'm not going to even give my opinion until I show them to you.
Okay.
I'll print out two for you here.
Okay. What?
Exactly.
What?
Like, I mean,
This is the beauty that's making people go to see volleyball?
But like, yeah, you're pretty much giving my reaction.
Okay.
Like, she's good looking. I mean, she's not ugly by any means.
There was a Henson movie back in the 80s. God, the guy who did Kermit the Frog and all that, Sesame Street, Henson. He's famous for Jim Henson.
Yeah.
He did a movie with a bunch of puppets. I think it was like Crystal something, and there was this
Dark Crystal.
The Dark Crystal, and there was this life form named Gelflings.
Yep.
This chick looks like a Gelfling.
Now I have to look out.
Flat out, Timko. Gelfling? Do you remember this movie?
I totally do. That particularly, yeah, you could see it big time.
She's a friggin' Gelfling.
She is, yeah.
Okay, well,
Totally.
apparently people in Eastern Europe really think this chick is hot, as well as Taiwanese fans are going crazy. The Straits Times reported that Taiwanese fans were holding Kazakhstan flags and arriving an hour early just to get a glimpse of Altenbekova.
An hour early? I didn't even read that part
Just
of
to
it.
get a glimpse of a Gelfling. Hey, rent the movie. Rent the movie. It's called A Dark Crystal. You'll get plenty. Altenbekova's mother. See? Am I wrong?
You're right. I'm sorry. I just googled it. Imaged it.
Frickin' Gelfling.
Yeah.
Her mother said the new star has been attending a boarding school for gifted children.
Here's some pictures.
I wanted her to be admitted to law school, but she chose sports. Well, good choice. She added that her daughter has been asked to model, but she will not go there. We the parents, are against it. Does this chick know what modeling pays?
Right.
I mean, you just want her to go to school to be a lawyer? Are you kidding me? I mean, get her ass off this goat farm in Kazakhstan and onto a P Diddy P Diddy yacht modeling. I mean, that's where you want to be.
Right.
Post haste.
Post haste.
I mean, I'm picturing Borat. Wasn't he from Kazakhstan?
Yes, absolutely. Kazakhstan.
I don't know.
Dude, no. When I
yeah. Okay. Now they're showing a rear shot of her.
No. This is I'm just comparing. If that is so hot, I mean, I'm sorry. We'll put these pictures on our post on our site, obviously. But I think when I think of a hot volleyball player, I think of that, not this.
Right. They're all in the short, tight shorts.
Yeah.
They're all in the short, tight shorts. That's redundant. But yeah, they're all tall, somewhat thin chicks in tight outfits, and then you show we see what this team. Yeah, the Gelfling. I mean,
I googled several. I mean, I went through her pictures, really trying to. I mean, I'm sure she may have even more, but they're not going to get much better. I tried to pick ones that I thought. This
might be really remarkable for Kazakhstan, but as Americans,
no.
Just shows, I guess, the difference level of what's considered hot. I guess.
Yeah. Seriously. Well, we'll have to watch her career with interest. Into the astronomy file.
I was going to say, another one to the astronomer.
God. Hey, another weird story, and this one's back home in the U.S., Sarasota, Florida. A father was killed and his 9-year-old daughter critically injured Sunday while walking along a Florida beach when a small plane crashed. It crash-landed on the Gulf Coast, only feet from the surf. Wendy Rose, a spokeswoman for the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, said the pilot and his only passenger weren't hurt when the Piper, and this is like a tiny little 2-seater plane, aircraft lost power and touched down Sunday afternoon on a beach in Venice, Florida, as the two from Georgia were walking along the sand. So picture this. You're in Venice, Florida. You're with your dad. You're 9. You're just walking along a beach, and you get plowed by a plane.
Right. I guess
you don't expect that.
To be honest, and then maybe I don't.
I know what you're gonna say.
How do you not see this coming? You're really just.
It's like
you don't hear anything. I know it's not a big plane, but
it's like getting hit by a train, right?
I've always never.
Get the fuck out of the way.
Never have I. I get if it's one of those ones. I think sometimes it's like 4 a.m. and some drunk.
Oh yeah.
But you hear about a guy in like a bicycle that gets. How is that? When they're in cities, they're going like 20 miles an hour, if not less.
Oh, there's trains that fly though, and I think your perception that they're going 20 or less is what causes these people to jump in front or try to beat them, because some of them are flying and there's no way they're stopping. And I think a lot of people just think, I can beat it.
Yeah,
I can beat it. That's in reference to a train though, but here we have a freaking plane, and granted, the power's out. Maybe it's silently gliding, but still, nobody's yelling. I guess we're picturing from behind. Maybe it's one of these deals where you're walking down a hall and you do that dance with people. Like you go one way, they go the same way, and you.
I don't know, man. I mean, I just cannot. I mean, I guess it happened, so we know it did happen. But I can't imagine there's not one other person on the beach to maybe, hey, there's a plane coming, or you don't hear. I guess we don't know. You're right. We don't know. Maybe the power was cut off. Maybe even the propellers. Maybe it's flat out just coasting. I have a hard time believing there wouldn't be some sound.
Just a serious misjudgment of time, space, and distance. I mean, if you're facing this thing, are you thinking, okay, it's going to go over me, or it's going to land short of me? How do you not just bust into the water? How do you not run to the side?
If you were on the beach, and I don't even care if this thing was just looking slightly low. If I was on the beach and it just like, ooh, that might be 100 feet in the air.
Yeah,
I'm moving out of the way just to be 100%.
And this is Eric who would do this
with his college background.
Yeah, I mean, you are educated, so we've got to take that. We don't know where this guy came from. 36-year-old Omi Irizarry, dude. I don't know how it could be. It had to be from behind, and it had to be in glide mode of some sort, and there had to be no other people there to go, dude, get the fuck out of the way.
I mean, the circumstances that would have led to this being had to be an empty beach. no sound coming from the plane. Maybe you're listening to your iPod, I guess, or something.
And if that's the case, nice landing on the two fucking people on the beach, pilot, you know?
See, that's the thing. That's
You asshole, you're trying to save yourself, trying to pull an Eric here, and you end up taking out a guy and his daughter.
That's a very good point, Jay. Because in our scenario that this guy gets hit, it almost is like there's nobody there. He must be clearly... that guy couldn't... glide or not, the wings still have, flaps. I'm sure he could still...
Well, and it's like, way to just not, you'd think, all right, I'm in the wrong here. I'm in a plane and I've got to ditch this thing. I can't just land on people.
Right.
I've got to take the hit here and go into the water or go hard onto the beach.
Right.
I can't hit those two people right there.
When he got to the point where he knew it was going down, at one point he must have still had some control over a flap, or even those little planes. They probably have windows that he could actually open and kind of say, "Hey, coming through."
Why didn't he blow the horn? They have horns, right, Eric?
Right.
I mean, what the fuck? This is driver error. Driver error for sure. But unfortunately, I think it's just one of those things where it's, dude, it's your time. You got hit by a plane.
Right, dude. And I've been going through this. We kind of talked over recently, I think a few weeks ago even, about kind of this idea of my mortality and stuff.
Yeah.
And just stories like this are so weird to me because we go about our daily lives, and I'm not going to get too dark, but we do. We go about our daily lives. You don't think about anything. And the truth of the matter is, a plane could be this. You could be driving and a tree limb can fall. And like this, you're right. This guy's dead now. Dead. And over this,
I know. No, I think about that all the time, man. It's like, this is the one life you get.
Right.
And something so stupid in an instant. We could be driving home today, and God forbid.
You've said it before. One jerk can ruin it for anybody.
Hell yeah.
And I've thought about that recently, even too. Like, I mean, there is so much trust, as much in other human beings that we don't know.
Interaction, yeah.
Driving through a blinking red, that somebody isn't gonna just boom.
How about driving on a 2-lane highway? One car's coming at you. You're
Right.
trusting that person to stay on the other side of the line.
There is
Incredible.
no reason that a mentally ill person randomly has that lapse, a moment where he decides, I'm not only going, but it's going down with somebody else.
Yeah, and it happens, and we've seen that, and it's just awful. Well, we're talking about it being just your time. Well, was it Lexi's time? And this is a story about a dog in St. Clair Shores named Lexi. And I know this is a little while ago that this happened, but it's come back on the headlines a bit because there was a lawsuit filed recently regarding the death of this dog. On November 22nd, 2013, officers shot and killed Brittany Preston's 1-year-old mixed breed Labrador named Lexi in St. Clair Shores, Michigan. On July 15, Preston's attorney filed a federal lawsuit against the city, police officers, couple police officers, and an animal control officer who was also at the scene. The lawsuit alleges that the killing of Lexi was premeditated and was a violation of Preston's Fourth Amendment rights. So they're alleging in this lawsuit these cops premeditated the killing of this family's dog.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, it's crazy because, again, we take this with a grain of salt because they are allegations in a lawsuit, and anybody can say anything in a complaint. Anybody can put any allegation down, and it will all come out in court, and I'm sure the city and the cops and their lawyers will have a much different stance on this. But there is apparently some recordings of these officers saying what they did before they got out of the car and everything.
Yeah.
And they allege, and this is verbatim from the lawsuit complaint, before even getting out of the car, an officer is heard saying, "The only thing I'm going to do is shoot it anyway. I do not like dogs."
Really?
Yeah. So apparently they're called to this house for barking. And so these two cops, before they get out of the car, they're talking about what they're going to do. And the one officer says, "I don't do snares. I don't do dogs. I'll shoot the fucking thing."
Wow. If that, I guess you said alleged at this point still.
Man.
If that's true, that is... You know what, I'm not saying these guys obviously go to jail for 5 years, but there should absolutely be something. That is somebody's... I mean, we all talk about it. That is somebody's family member. Yeah. A lot of people, whether you're an animal person or not, I'm not talking about you, but any the audience. If you are an animal person, I have a cat myself. Walters has 2 cats and Izzy. Those do become part of your family member, and I get it. It's not my dad, but if I were to think
pretty close, right?
Yeah. Well, if I were to think that a cop just shot my cat because he just doesn't like cats and something was going,
I don't do cats.
I would be I definitely would be very upset about that.
Yeah, if this is recorded and that's what they say, I see it through court, see what happens. The officers then confront Preston's grandfather, who initially says he does not know who's responsible for the dog. So the grandfather reportedly suffers from dementia.
Okay.
So he's apparently left Lexi out, and police were called to talk about the excessive barking. So they come up to this guy, and the grandfather with dementia, does a Don Sterling, and I don't know who this is. And so that probably pisses the cops off.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is, your dog in front of your house barking. So they say, hey, here's what I'm going to tell you. If this isn't your dog, then you don't care if I shoot it because I'm about to.
What?
And that's on recorded audio, according to this complaint. Another quote is, and this is according to the complaint, I'm very close to killing this dog. Do you understand what I'm telling you right now? I will kill this dog. So if this is your damn dog, bring it in the house.
Dude.
If this dog is not being violent in any way and just barking, as annoying as that fucking is, and I can attest to that,
Right?
I've been woken up many times by barking dogs, does not deserve to be shot with a gun.
And you know what?
A real gun.
You know what bothers me more is not even just that he definitely doesn't deserve to get shot. Dude, this is just in general. If the alleged audio is right and it's the cop, that's just, in my opinion, really bad. That's just him taking his own personal beliefs.
Yeah, and we talk about it all the time. We are on the side of cops. They've got the toughest fucking job, and I think I give them a lot of leeway in stories like this to say, man, the stress, we can't understand the stress in our job. I mean, we come and bullshit here. We're not under the stress of death.
No.
As we approach a person, we have no idea, as a cop, or you as a cop have no idea what's going to happen that day as you walk away from your house. But, this just doesn't seem reasonable, Come on, guys, take a step back here. This is a dog barking.
Yeah, dude, that's...
So the story continues. After some confusion, Preston's grandfather eventually says he thinks the dog belongs to his granddaughter. At this point, he agrees to bring the animal inside the house. But before he could allow Lexi inside, police officers shot at her 4 times, with 3 bullets hitting her, according to police. So, they've now shot a barking dog. Preston's grandfather allegedly exclaims, "What the fuck? He's shooting it right in front of me?" The officer replies, "It attacked us, sir." The grandfather replies, "I don't think so." So not long after, Lexi, still alive but crying out in pain, is shot a 4th time by one of the officers. The officers are later heard discussing what to do with a still breathing Lexi as an animal control officer arrives at the scene, the lawsuit alleges. So again, allegations in the lawsuit. This is what they claim happened next. Defendant police officers asked Defendant Massey, this is the animal control guy, if they could choke it out, according to the lawsuit. Another police officer suggested using a shovel to kill Lexi. Defendant Massey remarked that doing so would not be a good idea because this shit's going to be all over Facebook in about an hour.
Oh, real nice.
Yeah. Massey eventually uses a catch pole to walk a wounded Lexi to the animal control truck, it's alleged. The lawsuit further alleges that a licensed veterinarian who performed a gross necropsy on Lexi on November 29th found a total of 15 bullet holes in the dog, contradicting the number of times police say they hit Lexi. 15 bullet holes?
Wow. If that's
Holy
true,
shit.
Now, if that's true, that's even see, now the funny thing is, let's even say that the dog was attacking them. Let's even say that, and they were in the right there. I mean, if it's true that then there's 15, it's like, dude, guys.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. I predict probably it vanishes from the court docket with a stipulation to dismiss, meaning it probably got settled.
Yeah, is that what you think?
Yeah. So, but it's interesting because it's a kind of novel idea to bring a Fourth Amendment case, which preserves your right to be free from unreasonable search and seizure, concerning a dog killing. You know what I mean? It's a strange kind of deal. So it may be that the city and the cops say, you know what, this is such a novel concept to sue us under, we're going to fight it. But I predict they probably cut their losses and settle it at some point.
Yeah.
Well, with that, why don't we move on? I have one Ask Eric and then a couple emails. Give me 1 second.
I like how Eric too. Again, sticking with the college education and all that. He really kept up with you there, Jay, on the whole the legal terminology.
Fourth Amendment.
Yeah, Fourth. It was a gripping conversation.
Honestly, I just didn't want. I didn't want to say it. No, if there's one subject I do know, and I'm not going to go through the 10 amendments right now or anything like that. But,
the 10 amendments.
Or the Bill of Rights, I don't know. But I mean,
good. Hey, you know what the Bill of Rights is? It's the first 10 amendments.
That's what I'm saying.
Good work,
And
dude.
my point is, if I was...
He fucking fell into that, didn't he?
Yeah.
10 amendments, Bill of Rights, whatever.
No.
Because you can see by the look of confidence in his eyes, too. I know what the fuck I'm talking about over here.
Let me fucking talk, you
Yeah, let's hear it.
motherfuckers. If I was
Doesn't
gonna
it
tell
suck
you,
when people talk over you, Eric?
Yeah,
It really sucks.
I
you
know.
Sorry, man.
No, I just don't mind it when I just don't like it when you're getting on me and then you're wrong. By the way, because
his eyebrows went up. His eyebrows. He looked right in my eyes, which is rare for Eric.
Because if there was any subject that I could be pretty confident on, it's U.S. history for sure. Just because my family growing up, when on many, my dad would have 2 weeks off from GM, and we would go on 2-week vacations, and we didn't go to like Orlando or Disneyland and stuff. We went on several
like where
trips to. I've been to Washington D.C. 7 times. I've seen
holy
the
shit.
Constitution and Bill of Rights several times. I've been in the White
Okay.
House. I've been to Boston. I've seen like the start of the Revolutionary War, Lexington and Concord, where the start of the Revolutionary War started. So American history, it's one of my most interesting subjects. I actually read the Lincoln book that the movie was the whole book that the movie was based on. So that stuff is the one subject.
You know what you just did, right,
What?
Eric? You put down the gauntlet. You said, I know history. We don't have time to do it now.
Right.
We don't have time to do it now, but you will be tested, my friend.
Okay, well, but I will say, I, of course, unfortunately, like life, I will say, you know how it goes if you don't keep up for it.
Oh, here he goes back.
Yeah.
I used to know history.
Yeah, but
It's sort of
in
like
the day.
history, the nature of it. I used to know it, but
Well, I'm just saying that if there's one subject that if I kind of say something I feel like I know on, U.S.
Okay.
history could tend to be it. Especially anything that's Civil War and Revolutionary.
So, Jay,
specifically.
That totally means we need to set up like a Jeopardy type
Oh,
theme here on the
it
show.
will happen.
Yeah, we'll have a
listeners,
Jeopardy
don't worry.
segment. Yeah, absolutely.
We will kick his
Bring it
ass
on,
in this.
bitches.
Bring it on. All right. In the meantime, Eric, we have an Ask Eric, and this is what we love for listeners to do is write in with Ask Erics. That's kind of how it
this
started.
is a listener
This is
one?
a listener-generated Ask
Awesome.
Eric. Dear Eric, my son Derek is a complete mess, and I need advice.
I can relate. Or my dad can relate.
Yeah. Despite his age, he's still living at home because he's unemployed again. He rarely showers, changes his clothes, or cleans his room. He spends way too much time hanging out with a bunch of older unemployed men in a basement playing video games and doing something on the computer. His mother and I foot all his bills for entertainment, food, and gas. My wife says he's only 30 and he's still growing up. I say it's time to kick his ass to the curb and let him start to work for a living. What do you think should be done with
Is
this man child?
fake?
This is for real,
It's
dude.
legit. I saw it this morning too, Jay.
Yeah.
I saw that email.
But I'm wondering if some guy didn't just write this up. Like, because let's be honest, he literally just described my life. So come on.
How do you draw that? There's lots of older people living with their folks these
every
days.
single thing in that thing was me. I mean,
Good work, Curtis. Love the email. Yes, Eric, you are clued
Okay.
into it. You caught that. That was a joke, I think.
gotcha.
So your response, Eric?
Yeah, what do you
My
do?
response is keep letting him follow his passion, man. I mean, radio's hard to get into. I mean, whatever he is into,
Yeah.
it's hard to get into. But that's your son, and he has dreams, and you should be a good dad. And as long as it takes him to achieve those dreams, you should keep. And then you should also keep your job so you can keep supporting his lifestyle too. So that's what I would say, though. I don't know, off the top of my head.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Nice. All right, couple emails, and then we'll shut it down here. Comic-Con conversation. We obviously were talking about that yesterday, and the idea of sending Eric, I think, would be awesome. He's a freak, and he would fit right in. Hey, what's up, guys? Great job driving the car without Mike. This is from Anthony. I heard you talking about sending Eric to Comic-Con one of these times, and it's passing through town. We actually produce a comic book as well as some other fun stuff. We'd love to have that crazy bastard visit us. Motor City Comic-Con was just in May. However, the Detroit Fan Fair is in February. It's a lot of drinking and all-around partying. I'll be sure to send you a link. So, we definitely appreciate that, Anthony. Keep us on target there. I think that'd be a good one. And Eric's always up for a good party, as we know. P.S. Eric, you should put poop into one of those squeeze things that old ladies use to decorate cakes with, and then eat it. What, man?
Nothing. What?
Is that out of bounds?
No, not really.
Now, Eric, if you go to a Comic-Con style thing, the whole cosplay that we talked about, would you well, we already know you dress up, theme dress for things. Would you
If I were to
Go with
dress up,
anything?
if I were to dress up, of course you know where I'm going, dude. Simpsons, baby. It'd be something with the Simpsons.
All right. What if? Okay, so
I don't know yet, but it would be the Simpsons.
What if you couldn't do Simpsons? Put that
I
aside.
couldn't do Simpsons. I would go for it. Well, I'm going to get you on a loophole, Jay, because I know you don't know them that well. I'd go with Futurama, which is another Matt Groening production.
Fuck face. All right, smart ass. Aaron rings in with a good email from yesterday giving Eric some advice. Advise Eric if he comes up on dogs while walking. So again, this plays into what we were talking about yesterday. Eric. Eric, not Derek. Derek's a totally separate person.
Of course.
God damn it, Derek. God damn it, Derek. Eric was walking or jogging down a trail, secluded, and was approached by 3 dogs. We talked about that and his fear of what to do. So Aaron writes in, he says, Eric, number 1, get down on the ground. Number 2, get in a submissive position to the dog. Number 3, let the dogs approach you. Number 4, start beating them off one by one. If you are advanced, you could probably beat off 2 at a time. Furthermore, there are informational videos on the internet showing people beating off one dog with their hand and disabling another with their mouth and or butthole or vagina.
Oh, come on now.
As you finish beating the dog off, you'll have a short retooling period, which will allow you to get out of there. Hope this helps, Eric.
You know, I bought this for the first 2. I honestly God, for the first 2, I thought get down submissive. Maybe it is something that those dogs they. And then
what threw you?
I don't know, the beating off part.
Putting a dog dick in your vagina?
Yeah, something like that. I guess
that's
sort of
for
thing.
you.
Maybe this wasn't real advice from Mr. Aaron.
Aaron, something. All right, well, with that, let's shut it down. Look for us to, or you know what, before we go, we'll mention thanks a ton for sharing on Facebook. You guys have been doing awesome with that, and we know that's making a difference as we see numbers start to go up, and we appreciate that because a lot of what spreads the word about us is on social media, obviously. And so the more you can do, the better. The more you're willing to do, it's awesome. Sharing on Facebook is easy. Liking us, following us on Twitter. Make sure that you log in, register with the website if you haven't done so already. We've seen a lot of people do that, and we appreciate that. So with that, let's shut it down, and we will see you tomorrow for another new edition of the Detroit Cast.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit. Stay